Well, hello everyone and welcome back to the Econobox Garage. In this week's episode, I'll be continuing with the Bugeye Build, working on the driver's side floor pan. Plan is to get it all cut out and ready to go. Still waiting for parts for the main structure of the floor before I can weld the patch panel in. Also in the plan is to start cleaning up the underside at the back of the car, and I would like to get started on the patch panels for the front part of the outer sill as well. So come along for the ride. I hope you enjoy the video. So I'm waiting for parts that have been ordered before I can go much further on the driver's side floor pan here. I'll get the replacement cut to the correct size, but in the meantime I think I'm just going to concentrate on getting some more cleaned up on the underside here. There's a lot of mess through here, and I've got to repair this patch here, and then so basically just clean all of this under here. And I'll have to get to repairing on that, but that'll be a bit later. So time to get the wire brushes out, put a face mask on, and away we go. Well, there I have the patch panel tacked on the surface as I did on the last one, although couldn't figure out why the welds weren't working at first. There's the first one there, and the second one. Compared to the rest, note to self, remember to turn on the gas. So now that I've got the patch in there, I'll get in with the angle grinder again and do the angle cuts on the corners. Push that down and tack it in. I learned this way of doing things from Fitzy's Fabrication's YouTube channel, and I'll put a link to that particular video of his in the description below. So there's the patch tacked in and cut out, and there's the piece that falls out from behind once I finish all the cuts. And then the nice thing with this now is all of these, this is all flush all the way around. So now the trick is to take my time and not rush it like I did on that other patch, and just start putting tacks, intermittently, let it cool or cool it off between each, couple of welds, and go from there. Well, I'm very happy with how this one turned out. No warping in the metal. It's just as bent as it was before, and nice and solid, and definitely looks a lot better than the big hole that was there before. So I'm getting a lot more confident with the welder now too, so that definitely helps. So there we have it. The tunnel is patched. But first off, get the angle grinder. First off, I'll drill out the spot welds, cut the other welds out, and then cut this out. And that'll give me a chance to clean out inside there. Now, one thing I've done before I go to cut this out is I have made a template, just a piece of paper for now, but I'll make one out of cardboard just to give me the shape of that front edge there. So I've got something to go by, and it'll be, this one was a little bit more solid than the one on the passenger side. So I'll use this as a pattern for both patches. Well, you can see I've got the end of the outer sill cut off, and I have the shut plate cut out. There's a couple of welds along there and one across here, and you can see where it's rusted through on this this panel for the footwell. So what I'm going to do is I'll cut a patch that'll go basically down probably to about here, and replace this return. So once I've got all of this stuff off here, I'll really give this a good clean. Well, I've got the rusty spot all cut out now, and so next on the agenda will be to cut a patch panel and get that welded in. So I'll get some rust converter spray into this cavity, and inside this cavity looks really good from what I can see. It's nice and very little rust to speak of, but I'll spray some rust converter in there just as a precaution. Another step closer. Okay, now I've got my cardboard template cut out, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually making this bigger than the hole, because my plan is to flange the edge of the patch so it sits over top and overlaps. That way I eliminate having to do any butt welds. So that'll fit right on there, like that. So the next step is to get this cut out of metal, bent up, flanged, and then welded in. Okay, so there's my little patch panel made up. As you can see, I've flanged it along these two sides here. Punched a couple of holes down this side for some plug welds. So that will fit right on, right there. And that way I'll just do some stitch welds down there and there. A couple of plug welds. I'll do the plug welds on this side here. Next step is clean up all the metal around here, so it's I've got good clean metal to weld to, and the same along here. And then I'll give it a shot of weld through primer, and yeah, we'll be good to go. So I've got my spot where I need to put the patch in all cleaned up. I have the patch all folded up, flanged, and hole punches on this side here. Okay, so that's now ready to go. It's time to fire up the welder. So there we have the patch welded in and primed. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. And as I said, I'm getting a lot more confident with the welder. Let's move on to the next thing. So even though I'm waiting for parts to arrive, specifically to replacement for this piece in here, I've decided I'm going to get the patch panel cut out of the piece I have here. That'll give me the material I need to make the patches for the outer sill on both sides. And I'm going to pretty much do the same as I did on the other side. I'm going to flange this edge here, and then I'm going to flange this so that I get the overlap here, and this one will have to be a butt weld along here. And that's what I'm going to get to next, is just making some final adjustments on the size of the hole here, and then we'll go from there. So there is the floor pan patch all trimmed up and cut to size. It's just sitting in there right now. Wanted to get that done so I knew how much extra sheet metal I had to work with to make the patches for the sills. So I'm quite happy with that. Joint across the top here will be really tight. I've got flange all the way along here, and that sits really nice. There's a flange around here as well. Once I get started on that, it'll all even out. So at the end here, I'll just flatten this down on top of the spring box, and I'll also have to mark out where all the holes are. But I think what I'll do is I'll flatten this down, put the spring plate on there, just that, and then mark the holes and drill them out that way. That way I know they're in the exact right spot. I have ordered the reinforcing bar that goes across underneath here, and when that gets in, I'll put that in, and then I can put this in here. But on to the next step. So before I go cutting any sheet metal for this patch in the corner, I'm going to start with a cardboard template to see if I can make this out of as few pieces as possible. So this is the one for the passenger side so far, and what I've done is I've made it bigger than the hole, and then shot some spray paint inside, and then you can see the line. I'll give me an approximate line where to cut. I want to get it as close as possible to this line here. I don't think I'll be able to use the butt weld clamps on there because it's going to be partly closed in. One thing that's adding just a little bit of challenge to this is the surface here has got a curve to it, very slight, so I can't just go and tack on the piece that goes along there. It looks like I'm going to be able to do this in 2 pieces, and then the same will happen for the other side. And then just to give you an idea of what this is going to look like, so that will go on like that. And whoops, that just popped off the tail. I just got taped on there. And then there's a 1/2 inch lip that comes up around here. Here's the piece that I cut out, and you can see the lip where I've drilled out the spot welds there. You can see the lip that needs to be replicated here. So okay, well, I'm happy with the shape of this, so I'm going to cut this out of sheet metal now, and I've left myself a lip along here, and then what I'll do is I'll just drill about 3 or 4 1/8 inch holes and use a Cleco fastener to hold that on there, and then I'll attach the piece that goes across here, and that way I should be able to hold the right curvature for the sheet metal itself. So there's the main part of the patch piece all cut out and just taped in spot here. It's not that, but very pleased with that. I've got the curve on it that goes this way. I've got all the bends in at the bottom here. So next up will be to recreate the lip that goes around this side here. But that's all I have time for this week's video. So first thing for next week will be to finish off this patch and do the same for the other side. That wraps up another episode of our Bugeye Build in the Econobox garage. Very pleased with progress again this week, and looking forward to what next week has. Plan is to get those patch panels finished for both the driver's and passenger side at the front sill. And hopefully the order I placed for parts arrives so I can finish off the driver's side floor pan. In the meantime, please be sure to like, subscribe, hit that little bell icon so you don't miss any future videos, and leave a comment or two. Thanks for joining me this week. We'll see you next time.